Hi everyone. I'm just making a vlog to kind of update where I'm at. Sorry it's been a while. I've been doing school all this week, so I've been kind of tired and uh, I think I'm catching a cold as well as I think my son is catching a cold. So, being back in school, I've been really tired. Because I'm getting back into the routine of getting up and getting ready and going somewhere and being there all day doing stuff and then coming home and dealing with home life. Um, I don't I don't make these videos with the intention of having a subject to talk about. I make these videos as a dialogue or a conversation with you guys in mind. And I try and think of things that maybe you all want to talk about or get some insight on, or the insight that I've gotten through my life and through my diagnosis and things like that. I've had a really hard transition at school because there are professors that I've had for classes that have seen the change in me and in my appearance and are supportive, and then there are those who are not. So I kind of just try not to think about it, but at the same time I get saddened by this fact because I'm still the same free-thinking person. I still believe in equal rights for everyone, even though, my beliefs hinder some of those things for myself. I don't think it's my place to impose my beliefs on someone else. Like, the only person who's in charge of that is Allah and not me. And, everyone answers for themselves. It's like, go do your own thing, be your own person. And I'm supportive of that because if I sit there and preach to somebody about what my beliefs say and what is right and what is wrong, then I've basically told them, I don't care about what you think or feel. I care about what I think and feel, and that's not true. So I don't do that. Like, I'm a big supporter of gay rights. I think that if you're homosexual, that you have the right to get married to your partner. And some people might disagree with me on that, but, by saying, like, that dilutes and degrades the sanctity of marriage. And I don't think it does, because marriage is a promise or a vow between one person and another that you are committed to them for life. If we look at the spiritual aspects, it's God blessing it. But if you look at civil unions, which take place in a courthouse, it's completely different. So one can't say that God rules over every marriage, because that's not true, because civil unions are very different than unions that take place in a spiritual building like a church or a mosque. I think that those places are very different. So I realize the separation of church and state. And by the way, marriage is a contract. No matter whether or not it is in a spiritual way or in a civil justice way, it's a contract. A contract of two people binding their lives together and binding what they have to bring to the table together. It's not, a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman. It's two people coming together and making a contract. So if we look at it in the sense of, like, let's say businesses get married to each other because they combine their efforts to create a new company, or they combine they have mergers. And mergers are two companies that come together to make a better product, so that they can support something new. And that's what I believe a marriage is. It's two people to come together to support something new. And I believe that if you take away the rights of people to do as they wish freely, that you're impeding their ability to grow and develop as a society. Like, we as a society of human beings are supposed to be tolerant and peaceful and loving and caring about each other and respectful of one another, and be mindful of that. So just because something is not right for me as a person does not mean that I have the ability to tell someone else what is right for them. Like, that would be me saying, oh, I think murder is right, and everyone should go around and kill each other. And somebody else comes and says, I don't believe that. And I would be telling them that they're wrong, that we need to downsize the population by committing murder. Like, it's a ridiculous claim. It makes no sense. So why in the world would we want to segregate or separate the abilities of people to join together as a couple just because we think or feel different? It just doesn't make sense. So to all my followers who are pro-rights, thank you. I'm proud of you. Keep supporting rights. And for those of you who are not supportive of those rights, then I'm sorry that this video has been a waste of your time, I guess. I don't know. I just, like, in the Bible, in the Quran, in all the texts, you know, it talks about what is right for you. It's a handbook for you as a believer. And in it, it says to be merciful as God would be merciful. And the hadiths by the Prophet even confirm that and say, no, look, you need to be peaceful in the way you approach this. And you need to think about that person as a human being and not as the sin they commit. So, you know, whatever they choose to do is on them, just like whatever I choose to do is on me. Like me, I struggle every day with things that I used to do. Like, I used to drink, and, you know, there's days where I think about going out and drinking, and I stay home instead and play with my son, or I talk with my husband and spend time with him. My husband still drinks, and so I have to be tolerant of the fact that it's in my face. And, you know, he's very careful about drinking around me because he knows how it affects me. Like, my husband smokes, and I'm trying to quit smoking because I used to be a heavy smoker. And I've cut down substantially, but I'm trying to quit altogether because I don't want that in my life anymore, because it's very unhealthy for you as a human being. But at the same time, it's unhealthy because I have a child who sees that, and I don't want them to think that that is something that is okay for them to do as a lifestyle, because it's really not healthy. The carcinogens that you're inhaling can cause and lead and have been known to lead to cancer. Not every person who smokes gets cancer. Like, there are those few who are very fortunate and never end up with cancer. But my father was a heavy smoker, and he ended up with lymphoma. So I kind of take that as a hit, and to me as a hint, and saying that I should probably give it up too. And my father's been dead for 11 years now, and so it's I've been smoking all that time. Why didn't I quit before? Because we all end up with that complex of like, oh, well, that doesn't necessarily apply to me. Genetics are genetics. If you have the genetics for cancer, which my father did, and my mother did, she had a different type of cancer, and my brother ended up with cancer, so obviously the genetics are there. I am predisposed to have the genetic disposition for cancer, so maybe I should quit doing the things that cause it, or have been known to cause it, I should say. I'm really careful about the things that I try and take into my body, not only because of my disorder, but because I want to live a healthier life. I want to be a healthier person, not just spiritually, but physically too. So I try and work out when I can. I try and eat healthy foods when I can, and I don't eat out very often. I don't eat a lot of fast food. So it's really been a struggle to kind of accommodate that. So, because there's so many people in my life who do eat fast food and do eat out, and they want to invite me to do those things, and I have to tell them no. Like, I'll go with you, but I'm not going to eat anything. Like, right now, you see me, I'm just wearing a headscarf that is really called an underscarf, because I don't want to go through all the trouble of putting on a hijab. It takes up a lot of time. This is a lot faster, and this is a full scarf, so I don't have to worry about y'all seeing anything else other than my face and my hands. But, you know, you've all seen my hair if you've seen my other videos. Like, it's not that big a deal, right? But I've committed to this change, so I'm going to do it full out. I'm not just going to, like, wishy-washy go about it. I'm going to stick to it and do the right thing. But let me go back to school and being tired and really downtrodden and saddened by the effect that wearing the hijab has kind of caused some rifts between me and other people. I think people look at me as being ultra conservative when I wear hijab, and I'm not. And just because I'm religious doesn't mean I'm ultra conservative. I believe in what I believe in for myself, and I believe that my beliefs support what I believe for myself, and that's that. Like, I'm not going to tell somebody else how to live their life. And I had a friend who is very liberal-minded, but one day when I ran into him and said hello, and really wanted to sit down and talk with him because I hadn't seen him all summer, or really talked with him all summer and see how he's doing, because he and I both suffer from anxiety. I was really taken aback by the fact that I felt very brushed off, pushed to the side. So I tweeted him, and I expressed how I felt and how I was concerned that we weren't, on good terms anymore. And he tweeted me back saying that we were fine, and that, how could I possibly think that? And I responded to that with, like, I'm glad to hear that, I was just really concerned. And, I think people do look at me differently. When I go out to the store or I'm driving around town, it's very apparent that people kind of look at you differently because they think you're foreign, or a foreign object, foreign person. And I'm not foreign. My dad was from Palestine, but I was born here in America, and I have served in our military. I was a United States Marine, and I didn't used to cover my head. And so it's kind of awkward for me to be like this a little bit, because I'm a very open, outgoing person. Like, I have friends and stuff that I don't hug anymore because they're male, and even though, like, some of them are homosexual, I still pay that courtesy and respect myself to, like, not be physically connected with that person. Like, I still shake hands with people, which I think is bad, but at the same time, I think it's good, because it's the only contact that I ever have with a person is by shaking their hand, and it's very rare. And, the people that I do hug are my family. Like, I hug my father-in-law, and I hug my son, and I hug my husband, but I really don't hug anybody else, because I want to save my physical connections with the people that I love and the people that I respect. And I love my friends, but at the same token, like, I could technically marry my friends. The way that the religion is that you don't have that kind of contact with somebody that you can marry, like, because they don't believe in that. That is something that is only done when you're married to a person. So I try and save that just between me and my husband, being physically connected, really. So that's pretty much what's been going on with me and this whole hijab situation at school and in life. And I'm worried all the time, because I don't want to be judged by people as being different than what I am. I don't want people to see this external change as, like, I'm ultra-conservative or orthodox or whatever you want to say, because I'm really not. Like, I believe in what I believe for myself, but I don't believe that everybody needs to believe the same thing I do. So I believe that everyone has the freedom to choose what they want out of life. Like, some people, it's put upon them to be spiritual or to be religious and to seek out truth. And it was put upon me. But other people, it's not. And that doesn't mean that it's never going to happen, that they never have those revelations. But you have to believe that something started all this, and whatever that belief is where you stand in life. And like the Quran talks about the Big Bang, and it talks about the development of a child in the womb, and it talks about a lot of things. And I can't quote the surahs or the verses, or the Jews, but that's because I'm still learning a lot. And like, I know that in the end part of the Quran, I think it's in like the 80s, it talks about the universe coming into being, about tearing the heavens apart and having them explode out, like separating the heavens from the universe, and how it all came into being. And the Quran isn't set up in order of like the revelations that came to the Prophet Muhammad. They're set up from longest to shortest. So the longer ones are in the beginning, and the shorter verses or surahs or chapters are in the end. But the first verse, or the first surah chapter of the Quran, is just an introduction. It's just an introduction. And it's not an introduction to the faith, it's an introduction to God. You know, it goes, Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, Lord of the world, you know, the most gracious, the ever merciful, you know, it goes like that in the English translation. In the Arabic translation, it's, let me see. I have to think about it because I do this every morning, and I start with, you know, asking God to protect me, and then I take refuge in Him, and then it's Bismillah Allah Rahim Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, you know, and I think I got that wrong, so don't quote me. But like when I'm put on the spot, my memory just goes. So, but it's along those same words in English, but in Arabic. But, you know, it's just an introduction to God. And I think that if you are a person of faith, that you should look into other religions' books. And if you are a skeptic, you should look into other religions' books or other beliefs' books, because you just don't know. You know, you could sit there and say that all religion is wrong and be wrong yourself because you haven't looked into things and done your research. Like the commandments for Muslims are the same commandments that were handed down to Moses. Like, it talks about Moses in the Quran. It talks about Abraham in the Quran. They are pronounced differently because it's Arabic, not English, but it even talks about Jesus and Mary and Jacob and Isaac and Ishmael. It talks about all of them. So, if you're gonna sit there and knock a religion, at least know what you're talking about before you go off the handle. Because You need to have circumstantial evidence to back it up, what you're saying. Sorry, I drink coffee in the morning, and right now it's 5:32, and I'm gonna be doing Fajr prayer here in a little bit. But I wanted to do this video to kind of give you guys an update and talk with you all a little bit. But, like, I've received bad reception from my in-laws because of things that I did. Like, one of my cousins on that side came in from out of town with her daughter, and so we went to her mom's house, which is my aunt through marriage, and it came time to pray, and I just, like, found a spot to do it and prayed. Instead of, like, asking, is there somewhere I can go pray at, I just helped myself and found a place and started praying, which, to me, I did it just automatic. It's like, it's time to pray, so I'm going to pray. For them, it was, or when it comes to my grandmother through marriage, it was kind of like she was taken aback by it. And I think it was hard for her because she doesn't understand the religion of Islam. She gets a lot of her information from Christian books. She's a Christian. And Christians typically have this negative connotation. They think that Islam is a new religion, when really it's not. It's based off of Abraham and Jesus. So it's based off of the Torah and the Bible. So this is like, the Torah is the Old Testament, Jesus is the New Testament, and Muhammad is the final testament. You know what I mean? Like, all three books are a succession of what God's plan is for humanity. And they're all a guide as to how to be close to God. So it really hurts that I made somebody feel uncomfortable, because that was not my intention. My intention was just to pray. And, whenever they pray before a meal or whatever, I don't say anything. Like, I go along with it out of respect, but that doesn't mean that I believe that Jesus is the savior of humanity, because the Quran says that, Adam and Eve paid for their sins. That's why they were cast out of Eden. And I don't believe that Eden is a place here on earth. I believe that Eden is in the heavens. I don't believe it's here on earth. So that, my friends, is a different story. So if you want to know more about my faith, please read the Quran. There's a Quran that is published, and I think it's like Abdul Yusuf Ali is a common translator, or he has a common translation of the Quran. There's another one out there that I don't know that person's name, but they both pretty much say the same thing, like, God, the most gracious, the ever merciful, blah, 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 blah. And the Quran doesn't use the word God. It uses the word Allah, which is an Arabic word. And Allah is a non-gender word, and it cannot be pluralized. So it is like the one, the only, non-sexed word. And I think that's great, because I think that's true. Like, we don't know God as, like, personal level, like, I know God, I've seen his face, or her face. I don't know. I don't know what God looks like. But I do know that because I don't know what he or she looks like, I cannot say whether it's a he or she. I cannot even say that God is flesh. You know? Because we were created in his image, it says in the Bible. But does that mean he has hands and feet that have 10 fingers and 10 toes? Maybe he has 11 fingers and 11 toes. Maybe he's not a he. Maybe he's a she. Like, I don't know. I don't have that relationship to God. I'm not a prophet. I'm not a Messiah. I'm just a human being, existing in the world, made of flesh and bone, just like every one of you. And in my search, I have found that Islam is the religion for me. And I hope that my viewers are tolerant of the choices I've made, as I am tolerant of the choices you make. And I hope that in some way we all can exist together. I really want us to be able to coexist, as there's a bumper sticker out there, and it really is like the epitome of what I believe, is that all religions and all faiths and all backgrounds should be able to exist together in harmony and not be at war with one another. Like, if you've ever seen it, the coexist bumper sticker has like symbols from various religions to make up the letters. And I believe that that's something that's attainable in my lifetime. I believe that's something that's attainable in my son's lifetime. And I believe that the world is ready for that. So I'm going to cut this off here and just say, stay tuned, stay watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Comment in the doobly-doo, the little comment box. And maybe then I'll get some conversation ideas going. But until next time, I'll see you later.